Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the October 2nd, 2024 meeting of the Murfreesboro Planning Commission. We'll call the meeting to order. We do have a quorum present tonight. We did not have any public comments registered, so we will move on with our first item of business, which is to approve the minutes of the September 4th, 2024 and the September 18th, 2024 Planning Commission meetings. We had a chance to review those ahead of time. Anybody have any changes or corrections? And if not?
If there are none, I move for approval.
Second.
Motion and a second. Ms. Jaco?
Ms. Sablewater.
Aye.
Mr. Carroll.
Aye.
Mr. Harris. Aye. Mr. Prince.
Aye.
Mr. Wright.
Aye.
Mr. Jones.
Aye. Okay, moving on to our public hearings. Our first public hearing tonight is regarding a zoning application to amend the PUD zoning at the Clary Park PUD on approximately 8 acres located along Robert Rose Drive and Robbie Corlew Lane. Hines Clary Park Land Holdings, LLC is the applicant. Mr. Barbie, good evening.
Good evening, Chair Jones and Murfreesboro Planning Commission members. This next application before you tonight is a request to amend the existing PUD zoning for the Clary Park development. This is specific to Lot 7. Lot 7 is located on the north side of Medical Center Parkway on the eastern end of Robbie Corlew Lane, adjacent to Robert Rose Drive. Surrounding property to the north is currently being developed as an apartment complex. The adjacent CH parcel, just to the west of that, has an approved site plan for Neighbors Restaurant. Firebird's Restaurant is on the corner of Honey Locust and Medical Center Parkway. In-N-Out Burger is to the right of that, or has a site plan approved for the parcel to the right of that. And Raising Cane's has a site plan approved for the next parcel. Redstone Federal Credit Union is currently developed just to the south of this parcel as well. The request before you tonight is to amend the PUD zoning for this parcel in order to make one small site change, which will be on page 54. The site change is to remove one of the two proposed entrance and exit points along Robert Rose Drive, and it appears my computer has different page numbers.
And Mr. Barbie, of course, Mr. Taylor will have his presentation where he'll show that as well.
So along Robert Rose Drive. In addition, they are requesting a change in the architectural style and details. The original architecture was a very traditional design with gabled ends, porches, other details. The new architecture that's being proposed is a more modern style of architecture that would match the adjacent apartment complex that's currently being developed.
If the cable department could go to my screen.
Have you got it, Matthew?
Yes.
Okay. Since the last time we met, we've worked with the applicant to get additional features added to the elevations. They've provided some additional bump outs, a much more substantial base to the building proposals, as well as a fourth story option that's now shown on the ends of the buildings that will add an outdoor patio area on that fourth story, as well as some additional living space. Based on the changes that have been made, staff is supportive of the rezoning request for the following reasons. The revised architecture complies with the required standards for providing a defined base and cap, variations in roof planes that create an appropriate level of interest, variations in wall planes, and a heavy reliance on masonry materials. In addition, the revised architecture relates to the adjacent residential apartment development by providing similar features and assets. The Planning Commission will need to conduct a public hearing tonight, and at the conclusion of the public hearing, conduct any discussion needed, and then and then formulate a recommendation for the City Council. Mr. Matt Taylor is also in attendance tonight, and I believe he has a presentation prepared for you as well.
Okay.
Thank you, Brad. Chair Lady Jones, members of the Planning Commission, I'm Matt Taylor of SEC. I've got Mr. Kevin Jund of Hines with me as well. They are the applicant. And we do have a brief presentation over a small amendment to the Clary Park PUD that we'd like to go over. In short, as Mr. Barbie said, the changes are minimal. They are to revise the architecture on one specific area of Clary Park and then to eliminate one access point onto Robert Rose Drive from that same area. I think we're probably all familiar with where Clary Park is, but if not, it's shown here in yellow. It's got a lot of frontage along Medical Center Parkway, bounded by Wilkinson Pike on the north and then Robert Rose Drive to the east. It's had a lot of activity over the past several years. A lot of businesses have already opened up, including Drake's and Firebirds and Whataburger and Main Event. You see a lot of construction going on with the apartments and several other commercial buildings out there right now. So it's been a flurry of activity since the project was approved. I think it's a good addition to the Gateway. So the master plan was approved 3 to 4 years ago as a PUD zoning, along with some commercial highway zoning along Medical Center Parkway and kind of one lot deep from that. It's about 78 acres in size. It was a mixture of single-family detached, attached, and multifamily, along with a wide variety of proposed commercial uses that you've seen come online since that time. So that current plan that is approved had 38 single-family detached homes, 282 attached, and then 300 multifamily with just under 30 acres in commercial land. This is the current master plan. So the area we're talking about tonight is highlighted in red. So that was the area 7 is how we termed that in the PUD previously. The area in pink, the Planning Commission recommended last month to rezone that residential back to commercial highway. And so that'll continue on to City Council in the next few weeks, I believe. The proposed plan changes the overall residential number. It decreases it fairly substantially. So we would have 21 single-family detached, 214 attached, 300 multifamily, and then just over 36 acres of commercial. That's assuming the City Council approves the previously recommended change. This is a blow-up of just the Area 7 that we're talking about tonight. You can see the layout itself is substantially the same as what was in the previously approved PUD. We did eliminate one access point onto Robert Rose Drive on the plan right side of this layout here. But that still leaves us with 2 access points, one on the Robert Rose and one on the Robbie Corlew. The previously approved plan in the PUD allowed for 100 townhouses. We've proposed 80 on this particular plan. We have maintained these to be alley loaded. That allows us to address the street with the front of our buildings along both Robert Rose as well as Robbie Corlew. So we have that nice street edge instead of the back of units. We've maintained the courtyards and the fire pits, and we've continued to address the stormwater area correctly on the plan right here as well. The color coding here, the blue, are for the enhanced side elevations throughout. So those will be anywhere that we abut one of our internal streets or whether it's high visibility from external. The asterisks, those are further commitments from my client that those will be the mandatory 4-story options. That provides that extra detailing and the rooftop living. We just think those look a little better. And so we're saying those will definitely be throughout the rest of the development. Those will be optional, though we think that's going to be a very popular option. It has been at the Flats of Olive downtown here, as well as Hidden River. Those are tremendous outdoor living spaces for those residents. So the approved architecture that we're talking about changing is specifically geared toward these areas in red. Area 2, which is the townhouse district, that is currently going through the earthwork phase of that project. That architecture is remaining exactly the same. We're not talking about changing that. Area 6 is the area that you recommended to change to commercial last month. And then finally, Area 7 is what we're talking about changing the architecture tonight. And so the approved architecture allows for 2-story homes, 1,400 square feet in size, raised porches, be conveyed through an HPR. And then the materials are a brick, stone, cement board. We're not talking about changing any of that. And then here's the examples of what the approval was. So very nice architecture. We're not saying anything's wrong with that. We just think that it's not necessarily appropriate for this portion of Clary Park. And so whenever we started looking at Area 7 and developing this toward the townhouse option, we started looking around us, looking at the apartments, looking at Henley Station, looking at Redstone, and just did not think that the approved architecture fit. And so we went out and, just neighbors, which directly touches the property. I think they recently closed on this, should be breaking ground any day. It's a flat roof. Very typical. Drake's, which just opened this week, is very consistent with that. Redstone, I think it's one of the most unique buildings along Medical Center Parkway. It touches this property. Henley Station, right across the street, it's got the taller elements. And of course, back out to Mission Barbecue, that strip, again, a flat roof, parapets. So we think, the architecture that we've proposed here fits this portion of Clary Park much, much better than what's approved here. We think these are still very, very attractive. We've maintained good quality materials, a lot of heavy reliance on brick, a strong base. We've still got those building facades working in and out, alternating. I think we're offsetting 2 feet back and forth. We're going to have the raised foundation, so these are just like the previous approval. So really, we're just changing the style of the architecture and adding that 4th floor outdoor living element. And then these are all still the fronts. It's just the different unit combination. So whether it's a 3, 4, 5, or 6 unit building. And these are the rears, and the same thing. It'll have a variety of colors and materials on the back. Each one has the decorative doors, garage doors, as well as the raised porch. And then the sides, the left would be what would be facing internal to the property. So if you've got buildings that are 10 feet apart where you really can't see those. And then on the right would be the enhanced side elevation. So those blue buildings that we talked about earlier, that has extra detail, extra material variation, has extra projections on that side elevation. And so this is the 4-story option, and then this is the 3-story option of those those enhanced or the regular side elevations. Amenities, we're really not changing the amenities. We're keeping the courtyards. The signage for the development's already there. We'll continue to have the 2 pools inside the development that are under construction right now. Kind of the grand lawn. The first part of that has been installed in front of Drake's. The remainder of that will be installed as the multifamily wraps up. And then the long linear park that stretches all the way from the townhouses all the way through even Area 7 that we're talking about over to Robert Rose. That commitment is still there. And then internal to Area 7, we'll continue to have the fire pits and seating areas or little courtyards that we'd previously proposed here. We'll continue this walking trail and sidewalk network, and then we've got a nice little pavilion area that's going to overlook the stormwater area on kind of in that purple highlighted area. So again, I'll be happy to answer any questions now or after the hearing.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Taylor. Does anybody have any questions for Mr. Taylor or Mr. Barbie before we open the public hearing? Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. So with that, we will open the public hearing on this item and ask if there's anybody that would like to come forward to speak. If you do come forward, please state your name and address, and just come forward to the podium. Anybody here to speak tonight on this item? If not, then we will close the public hearing, and we will ask for any further comments or questions from the Planning Commission, discussion, and/or motions. I do want to say I appreciate the changes that you all made to the original design, amended design that we saw, and I think it's a very nice improvement.
Motion to approve, subject to all staff.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Ms. Jaco?
Ms. Savelwater.
Aye.
Mr. Carroll.
Aye.
Mr. Harris.
Aye.
Mr. Prince.
Aye.
Mr. Wright.
Aye.
Chair Jones.
Aye. Okay. All right, our next public hearing will be a zoning application for approximately 92.54 acres located along New Salem Highway and Barfield Road to be rezoned from RS-15 to Commercial Highway. Matt Taylor of SEC Inc. on behalf of the World Outreach Church is the applicant. Mr. Donovan, good evening.
Good evening, Chair Jones and members of the Planning Commission. The applicant, World Outreach Church, has before you tonight a rezoning to rezone a piece of property from single-family residential with a minimum lot size of 15,000 square feet to commercial highway. The subject property is located in 1921 New Salem Highway, or on the southwest corner of New Salem and Barfield Road. So this site is currently home to the World Outreach Campus, which is allowed in the RS-15 district by a special use permit, which World Outreach has obtained 3 special use permits in 2003, 2007, and in 2012. Those were for additions to parking, additions to buildings and parking, and outdoor speakers, respectively. The applicant is requesting bulk zoning to CH zoning for the approximately 92.4 acres. The CH district would permit the existing church by right, eliminating the need for any additional special use permits in the future. The CH district also permits a wide variety of retail, office, and medical and other institutional uses as well. In your packet tonight, you received a copy that highlighted what were the allowed uses in that CH district. As far as adjacent land uses, most of the adjacent land uses are residential, with properties zoned both commercial and residential. North of the subject property, River Rock Baptist Church is zoned RS-15. There's a single-family residence that is zoned CF. The Shalom Farms Apartments is zoned RM-16, and then a vacant piece of land is zoned CH. And then to the east is Thornton's, a cell tower, a city pump station, and a site plan approval for Salem Square, as well as a site that MTE is looking at for a future substation. All of those properties are zoned CH. The remaining properties to the east, south, and to the west are single-family residential, zoned RM in the unincorporated county. So the future land use for this area calls it out as public, private, and institutional as the most appropriate land use. That land use category is looking for government buildings, hospitals, public and private institutionals, such as the church. The CH zoning does allow churches, along with numerous other institutional uses by right, but does also, it would remove the need for any future conditional use or special use permits, for the existing church. However, the commercial highway zoning does allow a variety of retail, office, medical, and other uses that weren't necessarily envisioned for the public institutional land use category. Staff is supportive of this rezoning request for the following reasons. Commercial highway zoning permits churches and various other institutional uses by right, enabling future expansions for the existing church without requiring additional conditional use permits. The CH zoning is consistent with the existing commercial character along New Salem Highway, which is a major thoroughfare and suited for commercial development, and the CH zoning is compatible with similar zoning designations to the north and east. The Planning Commission will need to conduct a public hearing on this matter and formulate a recommendation to City Council.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Donovan. Does anybody have any questions before we open the public hearing? Okay. We will open the public hearing on this item and ask anybody to come forward that would like to speak. Anybody? Okay. We will close the public hearing. Ask for any further comments or questions regarding this item, and if not, motions.
If there are no further questions, I move for approval subject to all staff comments.
Second.
Motion and a second. Ms. Jacob?
Ms. Safelwater,
Aye.
Mr. Carroll,
Abstain.
Mr. Harris,
Aye.
Mr. Prince,
Aye.
Mr. Wright,
Aye.
Chair Jones.
Aye. Okay. Our next item is a mandatory referral for the abandonment of a portion of Rucker Lane right-of-way located at the intersection of Rucker Lane and Smith Jarrett Road. SEC Inc., on behalf of Kevin Waldron, is the applicant. Mr. Donovan.
Thank you, Chair Jones. So this is a mandatory referral to abandon a portion of the right-of-way of Rucker Lane. As you can see on the map in front of you, it's the crosshatch portion in the center labeled as Old Rucker Lane. The right-of-way is a portion of a prior alignment when Rucker Lane continued south and along the alignment of what is now Smith Jarrett Road. So the applicant is requesting this abandonment to combine it with adjacent parcels in order to provide additional frontage on both Rucker Lane and onto Smith Jarrett Road for those parcels. Mr. Waldron, our family member, controls what is listed on that exhibit as tract 1, 2, and 3, which all would receive a portion of the right-of-way. Staff has obtained comments and included a memorandum in your packet for tonight from other city departments and utility providers regarding the abandonment of the right-of-way. And those responses were included for you. You'll notice that there weren't any requests for easements or any issues from those departments and utilities that we heard from. So based on the responses staff has received, staff recommends approval with the following conditions. The applicant shall prepare and submit legal descriptions and exhibits necessary for the city legal department to draft any necessary legal instruments. Such instruments shall be subject to the final approval of the city legal department. The applicant shall be responsible for the recording of the legal instruments and paying of any recording fees. And the 50-foot wide abandoned right-of-way shall be combined with contiguous properties via duly approved and recorded subdivision plats subject to both the city and county for review and approval. And one thing I failed to mention, so that last condition is clear, is the city the city limits, corporate limits, runs down the backside, and I'll show you is the dotted line on the map. So it runs down where the old right-of-way would be abandoned. So the three properties that this would be combined with are actually under county jurisdiction, the right-of-way, and then the triangle piece of property that's on the other side of the right-of-way are all within the city. Planning Commission needs to conduct a public hearing and discuss this matter and formulate a recommendation for the City Council.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Donovan. Anybody have any questions? Okay. We will open the public hearing on this item and ask if there is anybody in the audience that would like to come forward to speak on this item tonight. Okay. Seeing none, we will close the public hearing. Ask if we have any questions, and if not, we'll be ready for a motion.
Move for approval, subject to all staff comments.
Second.
Motion and a second. Ms. Jaco?
Ms. Saberwater.
Aye.
Mr. Carroll.
Aye.
Mr. Harris.
Aye.
Mr. Prince.
Aye.
Chair Jones.
Aye. Okay. Next, we have a zoning application for approximately 5.1 acres located along Greenland Drive to be rezoned from RM16 to PRD. This is the Crossings at Greenland PRD. SW Capital Group is the applicant. Ms. Smith, good evening.
Good evening, Chair and Commission. You may recall last time we introduced this particular item. It is currently an apartment complex that is looking at modifying the interiors of all of their 4-bedroom, 4-bath units and reconfiguring them into 2-bedroom, 1-bath units. These particular ones will also require a bedroom and bathroom count being reduced by about 24% to accommodate those new living rooms, kitchens for those newly created units. In talking with MWRD, this will not need a special sewer variance when they look at actually the numbers for this type of a project because of those bedroom reductions. It generally reduces the amount of sewer use, and council passed an ordinance 2 years ago that basically said if they determine that it looks like they will be reducing sewer, the council can, when they do their rezone, take a look at making sure that they meet their land use requirements as well as any public health and safety issues. So as you can see on the map here, the site is actually designated both multifamily as a RM16 district. We're looking at going to a PRD for the one exception, which is changing the unit count from 15.29 units to the acre for the 78 dwelling units, and it would increase to 120 units within those same footprints of the building, increasing by about 42 units, and that brings it up to 23.26 units to the acre. Last time we did tell you that we would bring the data as far as the square footage sizes for these units. So the 4-bedroom, 4-bath are about 1,416 square feet in size, and they'll either be 1 or 2-bedroom units. And those 1-bedroom units will range from about 613 to 717 square feet in size, and the 2-bedroom units will be about 790 square feet. So it's basically splitting up those particular units. And then we did share with you last time that they will meet the parking requirements based on today's standards with the existing parking that is already provided on the site. With the application, Mr. Roundtree from Huddleston Steel will go over high points of the project. The main highlight staff looks at is, and we pointed out on page 13, this shows those breakdowns of the parking statistics as well as how the unit mix will change from the existing project to the project after the bifurcation or after the internal modifications are made. And then there's a handy-dandy phasing plan that you see on the screen above that shows project improvements that they've made for the 1.5 to 2 years that they've owned the property, and then phase 2 and phase 3 of the project, and those are spelled out in your book. And with that, I would like to turn it over to Clyde Roundtree to go over some of the specifics of the project. And this has been noticed as a public hearing. We only had one inquiry on it, and it was really, what does this zone change mean? What are they doing? So it was just trying to understand the project. So with that, I'll turn it over to Mr. Roundtree.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Smith.
Thank you, Holly. Chair Jones, Commissioners, my name is Clyde Roundtree with Huddleston Steel Engineering, and just want to walk you through a few of the highlights. As Holly mentioned, Bifurcations, most of you are probably familiar with them, but if you're not, I'll just kind of walk you through the process. This is now the fourth one that Holly and I have worked on together, and we have another one following this one. But bifurcations really came out of what they call basically dedicated student housing off campus, where the apartments were basically four bedroom units. And we got educated on our first one. Apartments around the MTSU campus have really been a point of concern for public safety, and the police department, you know, if they respond, they're always constantly going around the campus and having to deal with the situation with the college housing. So a few years ago, some of the developers got pretty savvy on thinking, is there a way we can convert this problem and create an opportunity? And so the bifurcation is really a process of taking 4-bedroom units and making them either a combination of 3 and 1, a 2 and 2, a 2 and 1. You know, it's based on how the internal structure of the building is situated. In our case, most of our bifurcations are basically go from a 4-bedroom to a 2-bedroom and a 1-bedroom. But I wanted to know the history of it, and I just want to give you the logic. So the logic is when you do student housing, basically it's a rent by room kind of component. So a student would rent a room, there'd be 4 students renting 4 rooms, and basically what would happen is one of the students would not come back or get run off from another one of the roommates, and eventually I have one person renting a 4-bedroom, and they call that the death spiral. So when that happens, it means there's only one person paying rent on a 4-bedroom unit, and as a result, basically the building becomes a little bit of a stress in terms of its financials. Ultimately, that turns into a kind of an implosion of the rental base, and it also becomes a maintenance challenge because you can no longer support the facility. So up to this point, those who are bifurcating have really been a blessing to the city because they're coming in and really helping us solve a problem. So it's exciting to see a really creative solution to what the police department would say has been a constant problem in the last few years. And Holly, we've had some good news, right? I think the reports are saying that the police reports that we're getting from some of the bifurcated units are really showing a positive, they're going in the positive direction in terms of safety. And the goal with the bifurcations is that you flip the population. And not to say that students can't live there, you can't discriminate between who lives in the buildings. However, you do have the ability to change the population so it's not all students, and that's really the goal. I think with a lot of our units going to 1-bedroom, we're still going to have quite a bit of students that will live in those units, but it'll also have families, and it'll diversify the population within the buildings itself. So if that makes sense, the mental gymnastics with bifurcations are you're actually increasing the density because you're taking a 4-bedroom, which is really 1 unit with 4 bedrooms, and making it into 2 units, 1 with 2 bedrooms and 1 with 1 bedroom. So your density always goes up. So you'd assume if your density going up, then your population would go up as well, but it doesn't. Because a 4-bedroom has 4 people living in it, a 3-bedroom or 1-bedroom and 2-bedroom have 3 people living in it. So typically, when you bifurcate, you're losing at least 1 to 2 occupants per unit. So you run into a decrease population and increased density. So typically, we're requesting PUDs because we're typically asking for a density increase above and beyond what was there before. So that's why we stand here before you tonight. As far as the crossings in Greenland in particular, Southwest Capital have owned these buildings for 2 years. They came in with the intention of bifurcating. There's a lot of needs outside of just reconstructing the rooms for bifurcation that the buildings had. So they've been working for the last 2 years. The first thing they did was change their management structure. They changed their whole accounting process to get a lot more accountability within the organization they have. And they're already seeing a transition in their population without even starting the bifurcation process. So in our pattern book, we talk about that in terms of phase 1. They've done quite a few enhancements already that we wanted to make sure that was credited towards them, because typically with bifurcations, we are asking for, making sure the buildings are basically all the faucets and toilets go to our low flow kind of situation. We tend to want to make sure the buildings are being improved, at least aesthetically. One of our bifurcations, we actually changed the footprint, where we had to add some space to the floor plan in order to add a bathroom. These bifurcations are typically just within the walls, so we're not doing anything architecturally to the building on the exterior, outside of painting the rails, power washing the siding, repairing where we can, and making sure if lights aren't working, just all the basic stuff that makes a piece of property look decent. That's really our goal in phase 1, and they've been working that for a while. So with that in mind, I just have a few highlights on a few sheets. Let's see here. So page 8, this basically is our aerial. It shows you the location of the apartments. One of our challenges with our apartments is typically they are surrounded by multifamily as well, so there's quite a bit of activity in these areas. So it's all, just want to bring to the point that it's really within a multifamily area where we're located, just to make sure you understand that. On page 13 is the site plan that Holly referred to. So as she mentioned, if you look at the table, it kind of goes, we're adding 54 one-bedrooms, we're adding 30 two-bedrooms, we're taking out 42 four-bedrooms. So that's really where our combination of new bedrooms are concerned. We're keeping 36 three-bedrooms, we're not touching those are not being bifurcated. And there's the density, it goes from 15 units per acre to 22, a little over 23 units per acre. So as Holly mentioned, we're still able to park all the parking that's going to be required, which is critical with apartments. And then just simply, I don't want too far into it, but if you can see it on the left, on the bottom portion of this image is where you have a four-bedroom. The red walls represents what's being removed from the existing floor plan and how it actually gets bifurcated. So they really become a really nice one-bedroom. I mean, actually, like Holly mentioned, over 600 square feet of a one-bedroom, so they're really nice size, which is very appealing for the tenants. And then the two bedrooms are also very accommodating, with over 700 square feet for the two bedrooms. And then 18, let's see. Part of the challenge, one of the biggest challenges when it comes to bifurcations or the mechanical systems that are related to changing a one unit into two. So you have to have, another kitchen area, you have to have additional air conditioning. So all those condensing units really become a new facet to the outside of the building. So whenever you're doing bifurcation, you've got to be very concerned about how the exteriors will look in terms of all the air conditioning units. So we've gone through several processes where we've screened them on one job, we've used landscaping on another job, but the landscaping enhancement at the foundation is really important to make sure as additional condensing units are on the outside that we screen them with landscaping. So the landscape plan reflects that effort. And then lastly, it just goes through, as Holly mentioned, there's 3 different phases in this project. Phase 1 is, as we speak, they've been working on this for the last almost 2 years. Phase 2 will be at just what's shown in blue. That's the initial bifurcations where there's 34 bedrooms that can get transitioned out. And then phase 3 is another 12. So they are converting all the 4 bedrooms on this particular property over the course of time and 3 different phases. With that, if you have any questions, I'd be glad to answer them. I appreciate the opportunity to present to you the crossings at Greenland. And I'm available for you if you have any questions. Thank you.
Any questions regarding this application? Okay. Thank you, Mr. Roundtree. All right, we will open the public hearing on this item and ask if we have anybody that would like to come forward to speak. Seeing no one, we will close the public hearing. Ask if there's any questions, comments, or if we're ready for a motion.
If there are none, I move for approval subject to all staff comments.
Second.
Motion and a second. Ms. Jacob?
Ms. Ava Water.
Aye.
Mr. Carroll.
Aye.
Mr. Harris.
Aye.
Mr. Prince.
Aye.
Mr. Wright.
Aye.
Chair Jones.
Aye. Okay, our next item, zoning application for approximately 6.15 acres located along Hazelwood Street to be rezoned from RM16 to PRD. This is the crossings at Hazelwood PRD, and again, we have SW Capital Group is the applicant. Ms. Smith?
So as you see with the applicant name, this is actually the same development team that has also been working on the project. So they mirrored a lot of the improvements and proposed changes onto this project. Little bit less conversion of the amount of bedroom counts. It's closer to about a 15% reduction of number of bedrooms versus the other project had a little bit more. But similarly, we don't need to do a sewer variance in advance. It's wrapped in with the rezoning request. And the exception that they're asking for is modifying the density from 15.61 to 19.51 units to the acre. All other staff comments are being met. They have agreed to updating the trash enclosure so we can at least have a good non-combustible material on site, and also seeing some planting coming back to the site that really has been lacking in certain areas. And then lastly, opening up the access back to Old Las Casas Road. This was also noticed for a public hearing, and staff believes that it fits the existing zoning concern, as well as the future land use, shows it as a multifamily use, and the changing of the units will occur within the existing footprint of the existing apartments. And to that, I'll turn it over to Mr. Clyde Roundtree, which I think it'll be ditto the last topic.
So moved.
Chairman Jones, Commissioners, Clyde Roundtree, Huddle Steel Engineering. Yeah, as Holly mentioned, same situation. Our densities have been increased by 4 units per acre. We are primarily, it's all 4 bedrooms that we're converting, 36 1-bedrooms, 12 2-bedrooms. All the 3 bedrooms will stay consistent as they are. And the client, as Holly mentioned, has been more than willing to try to meet all the expectations that the city staff has encouraged. I just want to say thanks to Holly. Holly's very, very thorough, and this is it's kind of a cumbersome process to go through all the detail, and she's done really well with these, and I think our client appreciates it, and I sure appreciate it as well. I know it takes a lot of work on her part, so with that in mind, if you have any questions, be glad to answer them.
Okay, any questions on this project? Okay, thank you, Mr. Roundtree. We will open the public hearing and ask if we have anybody here to speak regarding the crossings at Hazelwood PRD. And seeing none, we will close the public hearing and again ask for a motion.
So moved, subject to all staff comments.
Second.
Ms. Jacob, I was going to say, do we need to say a motion to approve, or are we just making a motion? But we're going to make a motion to approve. Thank you, Ms. Jacob. Can you do the roll call?
Ms. Abelwater?
Aye.
Mr. Carroll?
Aye.
Mr. Harris?
Aye.
Mr. Prince?
Aye.
Mr. Wright?
Aye.
Chair Jones?
Aye. Okay.
Thank you so much, Commission.
Thank you, Ms. Smith. Our next item is a zoning ordinance amendment. It is regarding retail and distribution uses and pertaining to the following sections. Section 2, definitions. Section 9, standards for special permit uses. And Chart 1, uses permitted, including its endnotes. The City of Murfreesboro Planning Department is the applicant. Mr. Tully.
Good evening, Chair Jones and Commissioners. This is a zoning ordinance amendment regarding auto parts retailers. As we mentioned in our last meeting, in the last several months, there have been several applications to the city for hybrid retail uses, particularly in the auto parts industry. And this amendment is seeking to address those uses and to permit them in a limited fashion in an organized way through the special use permit process, which currently the zoning ordinance does not permit. So since our last meeting, staff has worked with various levels of city leadership as well as meeting with stakeholders, and there have been some tweaks to the language from our last meeting, which we believe hopefully should address the Commission's concerns from our last meeting. So with that, I am open for any questions if anyone has any.
Okay. Any questions before we open the public hearing? Okay. We will open the public hearing on this zoning ordinance amendment and ask if there's anybody that would like to come forward to speak on this item. And seeing none, we will close the public hearing. And again, ask for any further questions or comments and/or motions.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion to approve and second, subject to all staff comments. Ms. Jacob?
Ms. Abelwater?
Aye.
Mr. Carroll?
Aye.
Mr. Harris?
Aye.
Mr. Prince?
Aye.
Mr. Wright?
Aye.
Chair Jones?
Aye.
Madam Chair, may I say something real quick?
Yes, you may.
I just want to thank Mr. Tully from our legal department. He has put in countless hours on this ordinance amendment, a ton of research, a ton of hours, a ton of time going back and forth with the planning department, both verbally and in track changes in Word, and we appreciate all the efforts he's put into this.
Didn't let him tell us all about it tonight. Down short and sweet.
I could
where
go line
we
by line
could
if you'd like.
understand it. Got to be where we can understand it. but we
He probably
can't much.
has become more of a subject matter expert on this type of use than anyone.
Thank you.
All right, that concludes our public hearings for the evening, and we will move on to staff reports and other business. First item is a mandatory referral to consider the abandonment of a portion of a drainage easement along South Point Way. Arco/Murray, Nashville is the applicant. Ms. Smith.
So this particular item is not on your public hearings because it's a mandatory referral request to abandon a drainage easement of 10 feet, as you can see on the aerial above. We have approved a site plan for these particular two sites, and where you can see this orange shaded line is the portion of the 10-foot drainage easement that they would like to abandon. Our engineering team has taken a look at this, and when this original subdivision of South Point Business Campus was started, it actually was a drainage ditch down through that section, but as they've developed over time, persons have kind of gotten their own drainage on their own sites. Not everybody uses the regional facilities. And as they re-reviewed the project on both this side and the opposite side, because there is another 10-foot drainage easement that runs along the opposite side, that one will continue to remain in place. And this will allow for some of their perimeter planting to go in this particular drainage easement that we have today. So this is not a public hearing request because it does not involve right-of-way. Staff recommends that it be approved subject to the 3 conditions of approval listed therein, which is that the applicant provides the information necessary for legal department to prepare the legal documents for the easement abandonment, which you might have seen in the packet. We already had the legal description and the map that would go with the recorded documents, that the applicant would be responsible for recording the aforementioned documents, including the payment of recording fees, and that the abandonment area will be referenced on their final plat because they are looking at combining these two properties. With that, if you have any questions, staff is here to answer any request. And I'm trying to remember.
I believe it's Mr. Taylor.
Yes, it is Mr. Taylor. This one, we've worked a lot with the developer, and their engineer has come to save the day on several occasions.
I'm sure he's billing them.
Okay. Any questions for Ms. Smith or Mr. Taylor?
Motion to approve, subject to the aforementioned 3 conditions.
Second.
Motion and a second. Ms. Jacob?
Ms. Water,
Aye.
Mr. Carroll.
Aye.
Mr. Harris.
Aye.
Mr. Prince.
Aye.
Mr. Wright.
Aye.
Chair Jones.
Aye. Okay, our next item, mandatory referral to consider the abandonment of a portion of a drainage easement along Suzanne Landon Drive. M.I. Homes of Nashville, LLC is the applicant. Ms. Kerr, good evening.
Good evening. Thank you, Chair Jones, members of Planning Commission. This easement abandonment request is from David Cumming with M.I. Homes of Nashville, LLC. The subject property is located at the southeast corner of Cedar View Drive and Suzanne Landon Drive. The Planning Commission is being asked to consider abandoning portions of an existing drainage easement at the Villas of Regal Square, Phase 3, being developed by M.I. Homes of Nashville. This abandonment includes portions of an existing drainage easement in order to resolve inadvertent conflicts with building locations, which are shown in red on this map. They kind of got into their buildings a little bit with that, so this is supposed to correct that. The drainage easement will be reconfigured so that it would building structures. The drainage easement will be reconfigured in this HPR plat, which is submitted by Catalyst Design Group. In order to obtain the drainage abandonment easement, the Murfreesboro Engineering Department requires that the drainage easement be subject to submission and recording of a final plat that relocates the easement as proposed by the applicant, which notes the HOA's responsibility to maintain the portions of the easement that are less than 20 feet wide. The HOA must amend and record HOA documents obligating itself to maintain the drainage easement that is less than the required 25 feet width. The city only maintains drainage easements that have a minimum of a 20-foot width. The city consents to a width of less than 20 feet as long as the mechanisms are in place for the HOA to maintain those portions of the easement. A copy of the correspondence from the city engineer has been included into your agenda package as well. Staff recommends that this abandonment be subject to 4 conditions. The applicant must provide the legal department with all necessary documentation to prepare and record the legal documents. Such documents shall be subject to final review of the city legal department. The applicant shall amend HOA documents transferring responsibilities for the maintenance of the drainage easement for the review and approval of the city legal department. The applicant will be responsible for paying recording fees, and the final plat dedicating the new drainage easement shall be recorded simultaneously with the recording of a quitclaim deed abandoning the easement, as should any documents needed to transfer maintenance responsibilities of the drainage easement to the HOA. You need to discuss this application, make a recommendation to City Council. If approved by Council, then the mayor will be authorized to sign the necessary documents to convey the city's interest back to the owner.
Okay. Any questions on this mandatory referral? Okay. We're ready for a motion.
If there are none, I will make a motion on the aforementioned proposal. Subject to all staff comments.
Motion.
Motion to approve. So I guess we don't approve it, council. We just make motions. Sorry.
We're using a lot of big words tonight, too.
Okay.
Motion to approve, subject to all staff comments.
All right, and we had a second. All right, Ms. Jacob?
Gotta dumb it down.
Ms. Savelwater,
Aye.
Mr. Carroll.
Aye.
Mr. Harris,
Aye.
Mr. Prince.
Aye.
Mr. Wright.
Aye.
Chair Jones.
Aye. Okay, that concludes our staff reports and other business. No, it doesn't. Item C, consideration of the 2025 Planning Commission meeting calendar and 2025 Plans Review calendar. Mr. Blomley, is that you?
Yes, I would like to discuss the aforementioned calendars, please.
Right.
So at one of the previous meetings, we approved amendments to our 2024 calendar. Here on tonight's agenda, we have the 2025 Planning Commission meeting calendar and the 2025 Plans Review calendar. So we would request, if those calendars look good to the Planning Commission, to have 2 separate motions, one to approve each. Of course, the city schools calendar isn't out for next school year, but we did consult the city and county schools calendars for spring break of this year, and we did make sure that we will not have any conflicts with spring break later on this school year. So, and of course, if there are any conflicts that come up that we need to adjust meetings, we can during the course of the year. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Okay.
Motion to approve.
Which one?
Both.
The aforementioned. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Ms. Jacob?
Ms. Savelwater,
Aye.
Mr. Carroll.
Aye.
Mr. Harris,
Aye.
Mr. Prince,
Aye.
Mr. Wright.
Aye.
Chair Jones.
Aye. Okay. Were there any other staff reports or other business tonight?
I did want to mention that, of course, the end of the year is coming up, and continuing education will be due by December 31st. I've sent out a couple of links. In addition to those links that I sent out for a couple of videos, we will have TAPA's annual Planning Commissioner Board of Zoning Appeals member training, which is usually done virtually in November. And so stay tuned. I'll be sending out information on that soon once I receive it. But I already know that it's scheduled for, I think, a Friday in November, but they always record that, and it's good for either 3 or 4 hours of continuing education. So you can knock out a good chunk of it with that training, but stay tuned for that.
Okay. If there is no other business, then we stand adjourned.